Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Full Court Podcast with your host, Orazio. We have officially entered one of the most important moments of the EuroLeague season, the EuroLeague playoffs. We have already seen some games, and now, of course, we are all curious about which teams are heading to Belgrade for the Final Four. So to talk about the EuroLeague playoffs, what we have seen so far and what we might see in the coming games, my guest for this week is the CEO and editor-in-chief of BasketNews.com, Jonas Miklovas. Jonas, welcome to the show.
Hi, hello, Orazio. Thank you for inviting.
It's great to have Jonas here, so then we can talk about, of course, the EuroLeague playoffs, what happened so far. We already seen 2 games in every playoff series. We only have so far one series that look more, in a way, decided than the other ones, because only Real Madrid is leading 2-0 in the series against Maccabi Tel Aviv. All the other series are more balanced so far, and so it's going to be very interesting to see which teams in the end are going to Belgrade for the Final Four. So to start the show, Jonas, I wanted to ask you, so far, which series was, let's say, the most entertaining for you to watch? What have you enjoyed the most so far?
Oh, actually, that's a tough question, because it would be easier to ask which series was the least entertaining and the least interesting. That's for sure Madrid and Maccabi series. Yeah. It didn't turn out yet to be that interesting as I expected. Actually, also my prediction went out of the window, because I had Maccabi in 4. I was just guessing that Maccabi will split those games in Madrid, will take at least one victory, and then in front of their own fans, where have they been just spectacular this year, I thought that they would finish the series coming back home. Now it's obvious it's not going to happen. It's not going to be Maccabi in 4. It could still be Maccabi in 5, but it's quite tough to see that way after those 2 games in Madrid. But actually, the other 3 series, I couldn't pick one. Like the first games, it was just the second time in EuroLeague history when all 4 games ended in double-digit difference. So it wasn't that close, and I thought, okay, what does it mean? Does it mean that the playoffs would be dull and boring? But nothing close. Actually, games 2 in Barcelona, in Piraeus, in Milan, all were very, very different compared to the first one. And I honestly cannot pick one series. I liked all those 3 games. I liked how teams bounced back. I liked some comments after the games, like Ettore Messina saying, "Oh, we are done." Like, Ettore, why are you saying like that? Like no coach is saying like that with series tied at 1. In a best of 5 series. I know. I think. I guess that he is playing some mind tricks with Coach Ataman. That's what he is doing for sure. But yeah, all these things and all these 3 series after game 2, they are really exciting and entertaining, and I'm really forward to games 3 and 4 this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I also, wanted to ask you in the end, which are your 4 teams in your mind heading to the Final Four in Belgrade? Do you already have, let's say, a picture of what's going to happen for you?
Yeah, so before the playoffs, I had these predictions, and it's just based on my predictions. It's not based like on what I like, what I love about the teams. I'm not a fan of any team, that's for sure. I just enjoy watching them. And for example, Monaco is the team that I probably enjoyed watching the most this season. But I thought that they had no chance against Olympiacos, because Olympiacos were playing great. They were playing great at home, having won like 13 in a row at home, lost only the first game against Zvezda, and won all the rest at home. So I thought that, okay, Monaco is great. I like them a lot. They were entertaining. but I thought they had no chance against this great Olympiacos team. I was wrong. It's tied 1-1, and they are going back to Monaco now, and anything can happen. Anyways, I'm sticking with Olympiacos. I still believe that we will go to the Final Four. Barcelona was another pick. I guess 99.9% of the people chose Barcelona. I guess even some of the Bayern fans, I guess, would choose Barcelona out of this series. So yeah, I still believe that Barcelona will go to the Final Four. I had Efes to beat Milan in 5. That's still a possibility. We cannot rule out of series coming back to Milan. And like I said, I had Maccabi going to Final Four now. No, sorry, Tel Aviv, sorry, Maccabi. Real Madrid is just actually they are just too experienced. They have seen too many games like that, and they have shown that we can write off these guys: Rudy Fernandez, Sergio Yui, Fabian Coser. We can write them off, and they just keep coming back. They just keep coming back and showing, oh, guys, wait a minute. We are still those guys who won the EuroLeague, who have been there. We know how it's going to get done. So yeah, I'm changing only one of my predictions, like I had before the series. So Real Madrid instead of Maccabi.
Okay. So before continuing to talk about EuroLeague, I wanted to ask you also a quick question about the EuroCup playoffs, because we already seen some big surprises with Joventut Badalona and Partizan Belgrade getting eliminated from the competition in the round of 16. Of course, with the format of EuroCup, some surprises were expected because in EuroCup, of course, we don't have playoff series. We have single games, and in a single game, there is more room for surprise and for upset. But in your opinion, the fact that big teams like Partizan and Joventut, which were among the favorites to win the competition in the end, are already out of the competition. What do you think, in your opinion, this thing says about the state of the competition? Is it a positive thing in a way, or is it more a negative thing? What's your opinion about it?
Actually, I think I was one of the few person who liked this new format. Mm-hmm. There were lots of critique of that just before the season. Actually, there was critique once it was announced, because playing just do-or-die games throughout the playoffs. So that's 4 games in total from round to 16 to the final, just 4 games for each team, for the team which advances to the finals. So it's very, very little room for error, that's for sure. But I liked this new idea, and I think I understand what's the point of that. EuroCup or EuroLeague as an organization changed the format of EuroCup to give more home games to all the teams. So it means more revenue from ticketing. So that's one idea. And there are many fans or basketball people now complaining, so why do you have to play 18 games and then just lose one and all your season goes to the rubbish bin? I understand that, and I understand their point, but my idea is that as a second-tier competition, which is EuroCup, which is smaller, which does not have that big of a fan audience, which is basically, I guess followed mainly by the fans of those teams which participate, but not by neutral fans. Yeah. So this competition, it really needs to have something different. It doesn't have to be your regular league like EuroLeague, like any other league. And I liked this comparison which our colleague Donatas did just yesterday on the Urbonus podcast. He said that it's the same with G League. Like, look at G League. They have even different rules. They experiment with different rules, like more fouls, no fouls, and so on. And they even invent new rules and try them in G League, and maybe this will work, maybe not, and they try to implement that in the NBA. So I liked the idea. I liked how EuroLeague approached this new format of EuroCup. But now, with all the backlash, with all the negative stuff coming from fans, from teams, I'm not sure that it's not going to be changed again. And
Yeah.
for me, that would be a pity, because when
Mhm.
you start doing something, you have to believe in that idea, and you have to keep moving forward with that idea. Give it at least like 3-4 seasons, and look how it goes. So, like I said, I like this idea. I still like it. There's only one team in this year that would go to EuroLeague anyway, so it wouldn't be like Joventut, Partizan, Valencia, and Gran Canaria, and whatever, and all these great teams. They wouldn't go all to the EuroLeague. Only one of them would go to the EuroLeague. So at some point, one of them or most of them would be eliminated anyways. It happened to be that these two grades were eliminated in the first round, and it's stirred all these emotions, and I understand that. But I really hope that all these bad emotions will not affect EuroLeague, and they will try to give it at least a couple of more seasons to see if it really works. But actually, if having said that, if you do that, you cannot mix schedules. You cannot
Yeah.
make the first round of EuroCup playoffs happening at the same time of EuroLeague games, because then again, you are killing EuroCup. Like regular
Yeah.
fans, they will not watch those EuroCup games, because if you have Real Madrid Maccabi playing, if you have Olympiacos Monaco playing, regular fans will watch those games because it's a higher quality, it's a higher stakes, it's better teams, better players, more fans, and so on. Just more fun to watch those games. So they have done one thing which I thought was great, but they did not do another one. Just make it enjoyable for fans. Like the week before EuroLeague playoffs was empty. Like there were no games. So my question is, why couldn't you start EuroCup playoffs 1 week earlier, and you give all the attention to those 16 teams which made with those playoffs, and the next week you start EuroLeague playoffs? They did not do that, and it's a pity, and it's kind of a shame that these games got buried until under EuroLeague games.
Yeah, and you definitely made some interesting points there. Of course, when EuroLeague playoffs started, I also saw some of your tweets, that you were complaining a little bit about the fact that EuroLeague as an organization didn't prepare really anything special for this EuroLeague playoffs. Same things that they usually do, same pre-game interviews, not a real show before the game, so not a real introduction before the game, and kind of in a way, kind of a very boring format, for the fans, for the people who watch the game. So I wanted to ask you, what would you have liked to see more, from EuroLeague heading to this EuroLeague playoffs, in terms of a format, of a show for the people who watch the games?
Well, the thing that got me furious the most was the halftime thing. I watched Milan FS game. That was the first game of the playoffs. I watched it on EuroLeague TV. Actually, EuroLeague TV, Smart TV app is a great thing. I want to congratulate EuroLeague for doing that. It just helps. It makes things so much easier if that game is not broadcasted on local TVs. You can watch it on your Smart TV through EuroLeague app. That's a great product. So as I watched that, and two quarters ended, and we have this halftime thing, and the thing that surprised me and got me furious, they were playing those old regular season recaps, like round 14, some random games, and it's like, aren't we in the playoffs? Aren't these two great teams? FS is the defending champion. So that's one story. They had some very great games. They had Ergin Ataman shouting at fans, with this. That's one of the iconic moments of this season. Yeah. You can make some short clip, some 4 or 5 minutes clip about FS season so far, how we got to this point. You can do the same with Milan, just telling their story. You can do some story about how these two teams stacked against each other in regular season, how their two games went, how which players performed better in those games. It's not something like rocket science. I'm not proposing anything radical, anything new, anything like which is hard to think of. That's very basic ideas, just talking and showing those teams which are in the playoffs. And when you see those just regular season recaps from the games which we don't care now, we don't care about them at all, and you see those games and it's like, oh man, can we do a bit better?
Yeah.
Another thing is that also those halftime interviews. I know that sometimes it's tough for local guys to give questions in English. I understand that it's not your local language. Like now we are not talking in our local languages. If we spoke in our native languages, if you speak with Italian guys, I speak with Lithuanian guys, we would be better off sounding, I guess. But you can find a guy which is fluent in English. Like there is a guy in Madrid. He is American, I guess. Just guessing from his accent. He's always great to hear, because he asks good questions. He reacts to the answers. He asks questions about stuff which is happening on the court. And when you have a guy which is not that fluent in English, he is usually afraid not only to ask something more interesting, not only to react, but he is even afraid to ask that simple question. And sometimes you can see that even players who are being asked, they don't even understand what is being asked, and they just answer politely, something about what happened in the first half, and that's all. So that's another thing. That's only 4 series. That's only four games. You can find, I guess, 4 people throughout the Europe and send those guys to Milan, to Barcelona, to Piraeus, if needed, and these guys can take these halftime interviews. So that's very small things, but it just keeps happening year after year, and you just feel sad that it's not the product is not evolving in that way.
Yeah, and of course this will probably be a time of changes for EuroLeague. Heading into the summer, there will be very important decisions to make, starting from the new CEO of the competition, who we need to understand who's going to be at the head of the organization now that Jordi Bertomeu is going to step down. There is, of course, also the situation with the Russian teams. We need to understand what's going to happen with them. But I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, of course, moving forward for EuroLeague, what's the main thing that has to change, in your opinion, for EuroLeague as an organization to improve and to become better, and to become also a better situation for the teams that play into the competition?
Well, first of all, I'm going to be a bit negative, and I'm still not sure if the CEO of EuroLeague, Mr. Jordi Bertomeu, will step down.
Yeah,
it's not a fact actually yet. There were some rumors, some talks about that, but what I'm hearing, it's not actually known for sure that he's going to step down and a new CEO is going to be implemented. So that's one thing, and that's actually also a thing that bothers me, because if there is some kind of opposition to Jordi Bertomeu, they have to present a new leader. They have to present some new guy who would be stepping into this role and kind of unite those teams. Because what we are seeing now is EuroLeague being divided a lot, almost 50-50. It's divided with half of the teams in favor of Jordi, half of the teams against him. And if there is a change, a new guy which comes in, he has to unite those teams. He has to be that uniting power which shows a new direction, which has all the teams in the same boat, rowing the same boat in the same direction, and trying to grow this organization. So I don't know. I don't know all the things. Maybe there is some guy who is going to come up in the last minute and he is going to be presented as a new possible leader, but we haven't seen him yet, and it's a bit worrying if that new guy will be actually. But once there is a change, if there is this year, next year, or wherever, I guess you just have to start listening to those hardcore fans, to those even media guys. There is some things that it's not so hard to be fixed.
Yeah.
Like this week, we have 8 games in 4 days, and actually, all the games, all 4 days, the difference between the games is half an hour or less.
Yeah.
So if one game starts at 8:30, the next starts at 9. On Friday, the difference is only 15 minutes between the games. So basically, these games just overlap, and you have to choose, or you have to watch both, and you're not seeing either of them, because if you tried watching 2 games at the same time, that's impossible. You don't see either game. You just kind of follow, but you don't see it. So I understand that sometimes you cannot do that. Sometimes those scheduling conflicts happen. Like there is something with arena, with TV times, with time zones. Sometimes you cannot do anything about that, but not always. And if you look at those schedules, you look at the playoff, you try to build all the momentum for the playoffs, and you do same thing all over again. And fans now even stop complaining. Actually, they just say, "Oh, that's EuroLeague, that's EuroLeague. That's expected." And we in Lithuania, we had something similar 7-8 years ago with our national Lithuanian league, which also kind of stagnated for some time. They had the same management, the same CEO for some time, and once even the fans, the regular fans, saw all these bad things, like bad marketing, bad TV broadcasts. I'm not saying that EuroLeague is bad on TV broadcasting, but we had that in Lithuania. We had lots of problems. Once new management came in, a new guy came in, a very strong CEO. He completely changed the office. He hired new guys. He hired young guys. He had lots of visions himself. He attracted new sponsors. Those new sponsors, those bigger money, it had a very positive influence on all those other things, on marketing, on TV broadcasts, and so on TV shows before or after the games, and so on. So it's like everybody sees that. Everybody sees that EuroLeague needs a fresh blood, new young blood. But we need to see that happen. And just seeing how much all the other sports, or how much the NBA has improved or stepped up. What is their TV deals over there in NBA? And when you compare how European basketball has progressed in 20 years, it hasn't progressed too much, if any. It looks like it just stalled at some time with talking about like marketing, TV money, and so on. So it's a pity, and I really hope that a new guy who comes in, he has the experience and he has the love for the game. Like I know that basketball has has a competition in Western Europe with football. Football is like the biggest thing in Europe, and nothing can compare with that. But you have to at least try to get that number 2 spot, like be at least visible number 2 spot, that once football is not having game days and so on, you can have that little spotlight in media as well. So I really hope that this new guy, whenever he comes, he can do that.
Yeah. Of course, you mentioned the changes that happened in Lithuania with a new CEO of the basketball league coming in and making substantial changes to the organization. I was wondering, do you have a specific name in your mind for, let's say, the head of the EuroLeague organization, a guy who could be a good name for the future of the competition, or do you believe that is more a fact of trying to find also more unity between the teams, and the head of the organization at the end of the day is not that important when you have more unity between the teams.
Actually, I don't have a name, but I really hope that it would be a guy who has some experience in business. If it's in sports business, it's even better. But coming back to that, my Lithuanian example, the CEO which came in, the new league CEO, when he came in, he actually did not know basketball too much. Can you imagine Lithuanian not knowing basketball too much? Because he was a great businessman. He had his own business empire. He built his business. He was a millionaire. He had all these connections and so on. But he is not into basketball too much. He didn't even know the names of some players when he came in. He did not know all the rules when he came in. And he just started learning about the sport, how it goes. But he did not have to learn anything about business. He knew that side. So my idea is, I don't say that you have to copy this same thing, that it would work. But my idea is that sometimes you don't even have to bring in a basketball guy. It could be someone who was successful in tennis, for example. Someone who maybe worked in Formula One. Someone who maybe even worked in some football club, which was, just a global brand, and how these things are being done. So my wish and my hope is that this guy who comes in, he has experience in global sports media business, and he has the connections, and he has the ideas, he has a vision. He may not be too much into basketball. He can learn all that stuff. He can learn all the names of the players once he is in this position. But he, in my idea, in my mind, he has to be a very strong businessman, and I really hope that a guy like that could be found.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So, of course, we reached the end of this new episode of Full Court Podcast. So, first of all, I want to thank you, Jonas, for jumping in and giving us your opinion and your insights. Thank you very much, Jonas.
Thank you, Orazio. Thank you for inviting. It may look that I forced myself into this podcast, but
no,
actually,
I can assure you that wasn't the case. Yeah.
It was a surprise for me as well when you told me that. So thank you for inviting, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. And before we finish, as always, I just want to remind you that Full Court Podcast is also available in the audio version on Spotify and all the other major streaming platforms. Of course, to find the full format of the podcast, you can always add to BasketNews.com and to our YouTube channel, BasketNews. So thank you very much to everyone who followed us, and with all you basketball fan, we're going to see you very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.